Welcome back to Up Front and our extended conversation with the candidates for state school superintendent. Lowell Holtz, the challenger, and Tony Evers, the incumbent. Dr. Holtz, let me ask you about Act 10, the signature legislation for Governor Walker. Effectively eliminated most collective bargaining for teachers, but also provided districts some relief from paying into health care and pension costs. 6 years later, good or bad thing for the state of Wisconsin?
As a working superintendent, I found it to actually be a good thing. Of course, everybody was concerned that it was going to have this devastating impact on teachers. But the first thing I noticed was every year leading up to Act 10, as a superintendent, I constantly had to lay people off to meet the budget. Post Act 10, I didn't have to lay anybody off, period. And that's good for the kids in the classroom. It's good for the teachers so they don't lose jobs. But then we're also, philosophically, we're wondering how big an impact that still has, 5, 6 years later. And so we surveyed teachers across the state as a superintendent group. And the leading levels of the leading concern for teachers we thought would be Act 10 and the union issues, but it really was focused around educator effectiveness and something that used to be called Teachscape. It was things that were more bureaucratic in nature. They took them a lot more time to work on those types of things than they used to be able to spend that time working on their lesson plans and things like that and what happened with the kids during the day. And the extra bureaucracy being pounded on top of them and the things that they were doing that had nothing to do with kids, that was what was frustrating them. Teachscape was a software system they had to learn to input data.
So generally good. You think it was generally a positive thing for the state of Wisconsin?
Overall, I think it was generally a good thing for Wisconsin.
You have said it was not.
No, I was against it to begin with when it was proposed. Part of the problem was that, well, first of all, did it save money? Absolutely, by taking money out of teachers' pockets. I mean, that's how the money was saved. And in order to pass Act 10, it was necessary to have divisive rhetoric around teachers and public servants, and that happened because there was the haves versus the have-nots. And Act 10 passed. It's in the past, and we move forward from there. But we move forward, and I think as a result, we're losing a generation of teachers. I'm on the board of regents.
Do you think this is exclusively a Wisconsin problem, or is this a problem around the country?
I think
people are not going into the teaching profession?
Exacerbated here in Wisconsin, absolutely, because of Act 10. The morale is down, but here's the deal. In UWM, one of our chief teacher preparation institutions of the state of Wisconsin, down 50%. UW-Madison, our flagship university, down 50%. When I go around the state, talk to young people, why don't they want to become teachers? Their first answer is the divisive rhetoric around teaching profession and teachers. That happened because of Act 10. So we need to change the rhetoric. That's free. And I think the pendulum is swinging that way, but we have a long way to go. I have a teacher council of all the teachers of the year since I've been state superintendent. We meet regularly. They talk about the bad morale. I believe them. I don't think they're giving me a line. I think there is a problem of morale, and I think it began with Act 10. Can it change? Yes, it absolutely can change.
What he just described, did you hear any of that in your experience as a school superintendent, for example, in the Whitnall School District?
About the bad morale?
Yeah.
No, the bad morale
that it's related to Act 10, it's related to teachers
initially,
feeling like
the first time through, because there was a lot of rhetoric, but then the reality sunk in, and it really wasn't the issues with Act 10. All the studies that people do about retaining employees say you have to set the environment and the tone in your business or your school so it's a place where people want to come and work. You can't say 6 or 7 years later, oh yeah, there's poor morale, when you should have been doing something to improve morale all the way along. We need to focus on improving the morale of the teachers that we have. We have outstanding teachers that have done great things with our kids, and we're losing them. We're losing them from the profession because they're frustrated. They're frustrated that they're doing things that are absolutely not related to their classroom. They want the time back that they used to have, and all you have to do is drive around the state and talk to teachers, and they'll explain that frustration to you. And we need to give them a rich environment where it's rewarding to be a teacher and people honor the profession rather than try to keep the rhetoric going.
I've got about 15, 20 seconds left. Yes.
Okay, just quickly. Yes, we have to move to change the morale situation in the state. We need to lighten the load on teachers. There's no question about that, and we're working on doing that. But the thing that Lowell talks about in the past, he hasn't talked about today. You know, the heavy bureaucracy sitting in the classroom, restraining teachers' work. We implement laws that are passed by the legislature, and you know, I can give you several things. The civics exam, for example, did we support that? No, I think it was you know, more of a feel-good thing. It's another thing dumped on teachers that we have to implement. We have to implement at the local level, at the state level. So it's a shared responsibility for the load on the teachers. That's for sure.
We'll talk about something else that's been implemented here in Wisconsin and other parts of the country, Common Core. And our editorial partner, WisPolitics.com, has a story of Democrats who are laying the groundwork to run for governor next year. You'll find that on the election blog at WisPolitics.com and on Twitter.